Okay.
So we're gonna start. So welcome to the third webinar of series. It's about NMLU, New Modular Load Unit. And first of all, for anyone who expected today a highly scientific presentation of results out of the project will be bitterly disappointed. It's gonna be another way around. We, like Marseille mentioned in the first webinar, in the Clusters 2.0, created a toolbox for a physical internet with software tools, algorithms, apps, and also physical tools, which we're going to talk about today. My speakers and I are talking about all the buzzwords you already know. It's modularization, bundling, future logistics, PI, intermodality, new logistics processes, and also logistics mind change. To be more precise, it's all, or to be simply, we're going to introduce 3 tools. We come out of the project, and to be more precise, or you will get to know a byte for a physical internet. At my side, 3 outstanding experts with whom I was happy to work in the project for 3 years. And I think they can introduce themselves much better than I can do. First of all, it's going to be Ton Bertens, a father of an NMLU, but I guess we can hear him. No. Tom Bertens is R&D manager at Eck Trailers. It's a company which built trailers customized, and Eck was a company he produced NMLU and the cluster 2.0 container. 2.0 container as a packaging innovation is a project. So we're gonna give to Pieter van den Bolt. Please say some sentences to your person.
Yes, hello everybody. So my name is Pieter van den Bolt. I'm from Innovatrain from Switzerland, and we did a part in what we call horizontal shift in the clusters project. And I will come later to it, what's it about.
Yes. Albert, please.
Albert, your mic is not working.
Yes, you should unmute you.
Albert, you're self-muted. I can't do much.
Okay, is it now on?
Now it's
yeah.
okay.
Okay, sorry for this. Okay, my name is Albert Charrel, working for the Department Business Innovation at Rijk Logistics. And Rijk Logistics is a transport service provider with services like road transportation and distribution, intermodal transportation with a daily train between the Netherlands and Italy, contract logistics, and some new business like freight solutions with special control center services.
Very nice. Thank you, guys. Let's proceed. The agenda for today gonna be the following. I will lead you to a new modular load unit idea. Then I will introduce NMLU as a packaging system and
can I try to speak?
Oh, Ton Bertens. Yeah. Oh.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hello.
loud and clear.
You hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Perfect.
Just in time.
Just in time. You wanna introduce yourself, or?
Yeah, my name is Ton Bertens. I'm work for Eck. I'm responsible for the research and development. And Michael called me the father, but I think we should be the brothers of the NMLU concept.
Yes.
I will explain later the ideas we had of the NMLU and what ideas we came up with during the project.
Perfectly. Back to the agenda. It's what you can expect today. I will lead you to NMLU idea, then introducing NMLU idea as a packaging system will be done by Ton. also a cluster to zero container. It's a new transport of mean horizontal shift system to go intermodal by Pieter, and new modular load unit from the logistical perspective or point of view from Albert. And I will end with unfair advantage and why should you work with us with an NMLU system. And we will end with a Q&A session like Anna-Rita said for a half hour. And maybe a hint for the next webinar, it's going to be a foundation for collaboration and model shift on next Tuesday with Mark Verlist from P&G. So let's dive into a topic, and I'm gonna begin with some logistic challenges in FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods industry or sector in general. So we face two missing packaging standards. We have a huge amount of variety of boxes and crates. We have a conflict between UK and US sizes, and we have unwritten industry rules to pallet heights or how to do order picking. It's a big mess at this stage. We're faced with different transport of means. So if we transport in FMCG, we go through a supply chain which look like it's begin on the plant from a producer, goes through cross-docking center to a distribution center, and finally to a store. And at each distribution hub or point, you change the ownership and responsibility for a load. And you also change the different transport means and also handle loads with different equipment. That's the next point. We have outdated and manual operated equipment, and it is also a challenge for the industry. It's always standalone solutions with missing interfaces to each other, and also we have it's a big mess today. With it's hard to find the right logistics stuff for do these operations. So the trend goes clearly to automatic or automated systems. And as you can see, the last one, we have, in case of this trend, high process and transparency, we have many participants of our supply chain. They do operative processes, and these processes are mainly paper-based. So they put them in the folder and do administration like in this way. This for the general things. And in the project, we discuss these challenges, and we also analyzed a structure of shipments in FMCG on a spot. We go to P&G, we went to city depot at the end of the supply chain, and as you can see, I brought two pictures which clearly describe a challenge for us within this project. How can we design and which size should an NMLU have? So at the beginning of the supply chain, it's a real picture of P&G. We have full truckloads, and as you can see here on the left, it's goods out area. We have pallets which with different heights, but it's always it's very quadratic, practical, and good. Yeah, and you have full truck with one load. It's go to a cross-docking center, right, to the next distribution point. At the end of the supply chain, and FMCG looks like this. It's a big mess. You can see two shipments. It's one is a booklet or a book. It's one shipment which goes into the city, and the another, it's in the background, it also goes to the, as you can see, you have some different volumes, weights, and also sizes. So how to create for this supply chain an NMLU? Can these shipments work in this world? It's a picture from FIT Consulting of a future warehouse, and let's say it's based on a previous EU project, Modular, where we create a small modular box. And if you see on the back of the slide, which train comes in, the goods or Modular boxes come out, will be storage, will be packed, and done by order picking with robots. Also go on the right side on city vans or velo carrier to go to in the city, but also on the left on the trucks to the next distribution point. Yeah. And to get back to the question, can the shipments or these two pictures fit in this world? And our answer is yes. And it's gonna be with these three guys on the bottom of a slide. It's NMLU, New Modular Load Unit. It's our byte for a physical internet, which gonna be now introduced by Ton Bertens. Ton, please, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Michael, for your introduction. And now I want to introduce you the NMLU, a new player in the logistic world. The NMLU will be the new standard in the logistic world. The NMLU base plate, which you see there on the picture, is the new standard usable for all fast mover consumer goods on pallets or in cases. On the back you see the NMLU loaded with cases, which can go up to the roof of a container or a trailer. Because the NMLU goes on in the trailer on roller beds, it's not needed to lift them up while loading. So the filling up to the roof is far more easy to do than before with pallets. With the NMLU you can do fast loading and unloading by the roller system by the roller bed system. To the back, the NMLU will roll to the front by gravity, and no human action will be needed to load the NMLU into trailers or in containers. Because you fill up the NMLU to the roof, the efficiency of the shipment will increase up to about 40% with an average of 20%, depending on the density of the goods. The NMLU has smart interfaces to secure the load to the base plate. And it also has some interfaces to make shelves to make a multiple level possible on the base plate. But it also has connections to the physical internet. A built-in chip will follow it wherever it goes and tells where the cargo along the journey will be. Can you go to the next sheet? Yeah, thank you. So in our project, we defined 4 types of new modular load units, all based on the same base plate that you saw in the picture before. We have the panel NMLU, we have the container NMLU, the modular NMLU, and in the end, the Modularization NMLU. So the panel NMLU is a very lightweight construction which shields the cargo from the outer world, and the container NMLU is a kind of ISO container divided by 8. The modular NMLU is a construction based of stackable pallets, and in this version you see it's based on a footprint of 5 euro pallets. We also defined a base plate based on a footprint of 4 euro pallets, and it's depending on your business case which type of base plate would be best for you to fill it optimally. So there we have then 2 versions. This base plate has also interfaces for the forklift to handle it, and it has interfaces to secure the load. On the subframe, the base plate is always secured by its shape, and the base plate is also a very lightweight construction. So the base plate is always the basis of this NMLU. Can we go to the next? Yeah, thank you. So here you see the loading of the 3 types of NMLUs in the little movie down. And there you can see how much the load efficiency will be increased. The Modularization NMLU is not shown in the movie, but in the picture above, you see the NMLU going through the logistic companies. In the Modularization project, there was only one base case, but we defined the Modularization in different sizes. So you can always optimize the filling of the Modularization crate and also optimize the filling of the base pallet. By combining different Modularization boxes in the NMLU, you create again an optimal efficiency. The boxes are piled up on each other, and there are no other means than fixture than straps over it. The Modularization crate can also be used for doing picking in warehouses, or the Modularization crates can go over to automatic filling systems to load the NMLUs by robots. So this will be the future of the Modularization NMLU, where we don't need any cartons anymore, and the warehouses will be filled with Modularization boxes. The basis of this ideas came to the development of a subframe, because we had to think about how can we do fast transhipment. How do we need to couple these NMLUs to each other when we want to move it over from a train to a trailer or the other way around? And there we came with the idea that if we had a subframe on which we could secure the NMLUs in which we can roll them over, we can use it for every need we had defined in the project. So this container can also be handled with the horizontal mover that Pieter later will explain. So this subframe also opens options to do city distribution if you can ship one NMLU per vehicle to the city. This also is an option of the subframe that we defined to do a side loading of NMLUs. We go to the next sheet. Thank you. So out of this subframe idea, we developed the cluster 2 container. And the cluster 2 container has then all those options that I mentioned before. So we can load the NMLUs from the back, we can load the NMLUs from the side. The NMLUs are automatically secured, and the securing can be taken away when we load or unload from the side. So, and this is a universal box. It has all the universal interfaces for a 45 feet container, but this is then a system that's automatically loaded. And if you use the 45 feet container in an intermodal shipments, you can also add 40 ton to your effective loading capacity. Can we go to the next? Yeah, thank you. Then we did some tests with the NMLUs. It was the NMLU in action. We did a lot of testing with the NMLUs, filling the NMLUs and the NMLUs base plates. We really built the stackable pallets from the modular NMLU and tested them in the warehouses from Jan de Rijk. They were very stable. We tested the stability of the NMLUs, the time of loading them, and we did braking tests, high-speed turning tests, but all the NMLUs were very stable, and the cargo didn't even move 1 mil. We tested them lifting with a forklift from both sides, and all was okay, but you had to use the proper forklift. Because one of the disadvantages of enlarging the footprint of the NMLU is, of course, that the maximum weight becomes very high. So it's more difficult to handle it than with a forklift. We moved also the roller beds, the NMLU over the roller beds, as you can see in the movie now. In air cargo depots, we loaded and unloaded them in air cargo trailers, and of course, in the NMLU cluster container. The cluster container was filled with NMLUs from the back and from the sides. and also we tested the securing of the system. As you see in the pictures above, we took the container from the trailer to the train and put it back on the trailer again after that, and then tested if the NMLUs have moved, but the securing system worked and all worked well. all these tests were filmed and timed. So from all these actions, we did a timing analysis that we could describe every action per time. And from this timing, we built a use case, a business case that could prove the benefit of the NMLUs. You go to the next sheet. So, and this is a view of that use case, business case that I'm describing. That is what we called an intermodal horizontal collaboration use case. So in there, I will try to explain how the business case is now. There are companies who want to send pallets to Italy, but one company has only 12, the other has only 8 pallets, and the third company has only 12 pallets. So it's not enough to load a complete container to go on the train. What the business is now, that there are milk runs where these pallets are collected. So there is a milk run to, let us say, company A. There are 12 pallets. They are collected and go to the warehouse. In the warehouse, they are stored. And the next sending will be pallets from company B. There were 8 pallets. They were also collected in a milk run, stored in the warehouse. And yeah, it must be every time the truck must be loaded and unloaded. The last shipment is also 12 pallets coming from another company in another milk run, also arriving at the same warehouse where the truck has to be loaded and unloaded, and the pallets one by one stored in the warehouse. When it's time to go to Italy, the 45 feet container is filled in the warehouse, pallet by pallet, and then goes to the terminal. From the terminal, it's loaded on the train and goes to Italy. If you now go to the NMLU era, when we say we all have NMLUs, there is a very much other option occurring. The container that we just saw leaves at the warehouse, goes to customer C, picks up 3 NMLUs, and the trailer will be loaded in 5 minutes. Then he goes to B, picks up 2 NMLUs, the trailer will also be loaded in 5 minutes. Customer A, the last shipment of 3 NMLUs, the container is filled and secured in only a half milk run, let me say it like that. Then it goes directly to the train terminal and goes on the train. So in here we save complete handling in warehouse of pallets in, out, in storage, and put them in a trailer again. So this is a very big advantage, a new possibility that the NMLU gives. So we got a fast loaded, secured load in only in saving 43% of the real time in the business. So this is a use case that we worked out in the timing that we did with all the test tables. I think I now hand over to Pieter to tell us something about the horizontal mover.
So yes, we can do the next innovation of a Cluster 2.0 project. And Pieter, up to you.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yes, loud and
Yes,
clear.
you can.
Okay, very, very good. Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. Yes, we, as you can see on the picture already, we are also in the horizontal shift of containers. We are more there for bigger containers. Please, no, don't let it run now. I do an introduction first. Thank you. So we are more in the full container size. We are also more focused on, let's say, the continental logistics, not very maritime containers, so no ports. Clusters is about connectivity between industrial areas, industrial clusters. And as you probably know, there is a lot of traffic going between those clusters, between those areas, and most of this traffic is all on road. And it would be very nice to have a part of this traffic on rail, which is, of course, much more sustainable. So intermodal way of putting it on rail. But there are many thresholds getting stuff onto the rail. It's not that easy. And many years we're trying to get more on rail, and there's not so much happening. So we have to do there something. So one of the big problems there are the thresholds, the barriers, and things like costs, the railway siding on a cluster or an area. There is no terminal, or there is no service by a provider, by a railway company, what would be okay for the customer. So 8 years ago, we developed a system for horizontal transshipment for normal containers, standard containers and swell bodies. And this was important. And it was our part within the cluster project to integrate our system into the idea of the NMLUs. And so the container, as you saw, the 45 can also be transferred horizontally by our system. So that was our part of it. And what we did is that we further improved our system by automating and also helping our colleagues in the clusters project. So if you can now start a video, Michael. So here you see a vehicle. It's, by the way, an electrical vehicle. And it has to be positioned correctly at the railway wagon. That's happening now. Then the driver just has to push a button and the rest will go automatically. Here you see the connecting bridges, as we call them, to the wagon adapter on the railway wagon. You see the container is lifted, by the way, by air, and then it's moved onto the railway wagon, all done by rolling and pushing hydraulically by special chains. It will shift up to the end. The system knows automatically how far it has to go. That's all done electronically. Then it is put down on the pins of the railway wagon, and the mover beams are retractable. They were pushed out underneath the container and go back onto the vehicle. And when they're back on the truck, and also the bridge is back, you can see then the truck is ready to go. So yeah, that was the 1 minute I was allowed to show it. So the rest is driving away is not on it. Okay, so please the next slide, Michael. Thank you. So different means of transport. So trying to put containers onto the rail. And we're talking about clusters which are mostly not that big as a big industrial area. So we also want smaller areas to be operated by rail. The big advantages of the system is that you only need the driver to do it, because he has to position the vehicle and then it can start. The other thing is, in fact, the horizontal transfer is also very low on energy consumption. We're never lifting anything, so compared to other techniques, you use very little energy, so it is very economical also. If you look at the flexibility concerning location, so the location can be very simple. You just need a simple rail connection. You need just an area asphalted, or a brick road will do, just 3 meters to the side of the railway track, and you can start. The container mover, horizontal system, just has to go very short distance on the industrial site. It can go directly to the loading dock of the warehouse. The container mover is also like a truck. I mean, you can go to another area, you can go even doing transshipment at another area the same day. So in the morning you can go to place A, in the afternoon you can do transshipments on another site. There is no other option like a reach stacker or a crane who can do things like that. If you look at the size, so the surface you need to do your operation can be small compared to a small terminal using a reach stacker, it's only 60% of the surface. And maybe you can imagine if you have a reach stacker using for containers, a reach stacker takes the container in the middle. Maybe I can show, I have a small container here. And the reach stacker, when it drives a container, so transports a container, it drives it like this. And the 45-foot container is almost 40 meters wide. So you can understand what enormous surface you need when you're using a reach stacker. In our system, when we're driving like a truck, it's like this. So it's only 3 meters. And that's why we need much less space on those surfaces. Those surfaces are not available most of the time. So if you're an existing industrial area, it's hard to find these enormous square meters to start your operation. So that makes things much easier. Next thing is we are fast with the system. As you've seen, the transhipment goes very quickly, but much more important is that when you compare it with other systems, you normally have a terminal. And we have terminals here in the Basel and the Switzerland area, and the fastest turnaround time is 30 minutes, 30 minutes, meaning that it's the fastest. We do a turnaround time on a terminal, on a small terminal, within 6 minutes, which is just 1/5 of this time. And then we were comparing with the best other situation. The system is compatible to normal containers, so normal small bodies and normal ISO containers. The other thing is it's also compatible to other terminals. So you can start an operation and connect a cluster's region to another cluster where there is already a terminal, like Dourges is a terminal, Bologna has a terminal, etc. So you connect in a very easy way. What is also important is that what I said before, you can start in a simple way, low cost way. You don't have to do very big first investments. So the thresholds are low, the barriers are low, and then you can increase its volume. You can then take a second vehicle, etc., and those vehicles can work parallel. You don't have to wait for anything, and then you can use a third vehicle. So you can upskill very easy. And also very important, you can move the operation to a new location very simple. You can do it just in one day, drive with your equipment to the next new location, and you can start there. So those are things which makes it very easy to start. The container mover is available for all kinds of lengths, the 20-foot, 30, 40, 45 foot, and can do weights from 18 tons, the minimum up to 34 tons for the big one. So also there are no restrictions. So I will leave it here with this short presentation and give the floor back to Michael and Albert Charrel.
Thank you, Pieter. Thank you, Ton, to introducing these 3 interesting tools for physical internet, and to a picture here of cluster system or NMLU packaging system. You can see the 4 types. Again, it's container, panel, modular, and modulistic NMLU. And 2 of them we tested within in a living lab in 2 rounds. So the first one was modular NMLU. It was first prototype. The tests are phased to make a mechanical feasibility. And the second test was in January this year, which gonna be operational one. And now I give up to Ace, which gonna present some insight out of this testing.
Yes, thank you, Michael. Let's start upper left. This is on one of the sides of Jan Rijk. You see here the little bit bigger lifter as normal, where Tom was talking about. The lifter is, let's say, 25% heavier and larger, because the base plate is in the size fits for 4 industrial pallets. So what you see here on the left picture is that we load from the back, and we unload from the back. The first few attempts was a bit difficult for the driver, because he isn't used, of course, to have a large, let's say, pallet. It seems large. You can see it at the back of the truck. But at a few times testing, we started measuring the time, and it was extremely far more faster moving with one base plate 4 pallets at the same time into the truck and out of the truck. So that was a very interesting test, but it's at first a little bit challenging in order to move around when you're not used to have a larger volume driving around with the lifter. Then to the right, so in the middle of the picture, you see that we are using the same lifter and then have a lot of crates at once loading from the side. And at the first attempt, it was successful. So that means that he has good visibility and moved the whole set of crates at once on the truck. Then more to the right, what we are used to do with a very heavy lifter is pick up a rail container and put it on the wagon. That's the normal way of handling a large rail container. With the system explained by Innovatrain, by Pieter, that's far more different, of course. But we did this test with the rail container, where the NMLUs, so the base plate with the crates, were in the container. And it was just to see what was happening with shifting in the container, was it stable, etc. And you can see if it's lifted by such a heavy lifter, it moves around quite a lot. It's not so stable as with the Innovatrain system, so it moves around a lot. So it was an interesting test to see if there were any damages on the goods when using the NMLU base plate with the crates on it. So then going to the left on the bottom picture, you see a trailer with roller beds. And Jan de Rijk is doing for almost 30 years already working with this kind of system, handling large air freight plates. And the base plate of the new NMLU is based on that same principle. So as you could see in the video Tom presented, you see that the base plate smoothly rolls over those plates, and it can be used in the truck on the roller beds at exactly the same way, which saves, of course, time. The interesting thing of the base plate is that it's a little bit smaller than a normal huge air freight plate. So, as Ton explained, it is in place of city distribution, and it is more easier to handle within warehouse situations. Then one picture to the right, so from the left, the third picture. Here we are testing the height. You see that it's quite high. I think that is almost 2 meters high, this test. And see what is happening when we lift it and if it's stable enough on the NMLU base plate. And then more to the right, so the last picture, we were just testing with a full set, lots of crates on the NMLU base plate, and see if we could move around easily within the warehouse with the normal positions we have over there. And a standard warehouse has dimensions in width that you can drive through with an industry pallet. So you need some changes to your warehouse if you want to set an NMLU base plate, which is twice the width, into a warehouse. But the advantage is that the moving and the loading and unloading is far more faster. And now back to Michael.
Thank you, Albert, to present some insights out of living lab, real testing of NMLU. And we are now perfectly in time. And within the next 3 slides, I will try to convince you to work with us. At first with some numbers. These are potential savings with NMLU packaging system. The first bullet point is if you use an NMLU, you can skip 1 transition point. So if you look at the supply chain, it begins from a plant over cross-docking to DC, finally to the store. If you analyze the flows, you can skip 1 of the points, even if it's a cross-dock point to go directly to DC and then to store, or even go directly from cross-dock to a store if you have a big volume and you go to a big mall. If you, for example, transport beverages, like it's going to be Coca-Cola, you have some types of product on an NMLU, and you have a huge amount of products too, which gonna go to one point on distribution point. So this is the first advantage. The second one, the loading time, or the time at the loading bay. Like A said, we can load and unload much faster than in the usual process. You can imagine, if you see the time measurements for unloading, we unload from the bags the whole trailer or container within 4 minutes. And you can load them after the forklift driver get used to it in about 13-14 minutes. So it's a reference to full truck load if you got out 32 or 33 pallets off of it. Also from the side, it's even faster. If you use this, you can load and unload between 8 and 9 minutes for the whole truck. So loading bay time decreased dramatically. So the next bullet point is you can increase your load efficiency. And it's especially in Modular case, you can use the small boxes on the NMLU without a pallet, and you can save 15 centimeters of a pallet height, and you can pack Modular boxes much higher. So on up to GS1 standard for pallet heights up to 2 meters, because the operator guys at warehouse should to handle them anyway, and that's gonna work. And also we analyzed data from FMCG partners, and it depends on the product. You can save 13, or you can win 13 to 40% on load efficiency if you use NMLU. It depends on the density of product, but it's always a win, because in FMCG we have not a weight problem, it's more a volume problem, and you can pack an NMLU much higher than in a common way with a pallet. And the last one, it's on Pieter's nice system. You can reduce the transshipment cost dramatically. So it's gate in and to gate out. You can work the whole process in 250 seconds. It's incredible. And the much more you can win a one transport mode, or you can win that transport. You can go way away from a road, more on a trailer, and you can do intermodal everywhere. It's a big advantages of the NMLU system. To the next slide, it's why should you work with us, or why should you try the system? Because we have a proven technology. Yeah, we have trailer builders and container building partners with Pieter and Ton. They understand their business, and we have established means of a transport, road and rail. So it's proven technology. We calculated the business case scenarios, and if we take one cross-docking center with a middle one for a pallets, and with I guess 150 trucks per day in the goods in area, and we put this amount of products or goods on an NMLU and do the same, or it's a part of this amount which gonna be cross-docked at one point. And even if you adapt your docks or doors and trailers, you will be profitable into about 2 and 5 years. So it's a big advantage if you gain loading and unloading benefits. The next one is we are ready for future logistics. Of course, NMLU fits perfectly in the big picture of physical internet. Yeah, it's the next step, and then make a physical internet picture more mature. Yeah, we have a Modular box, which was a smaller part, and now we create, like I said in the beginning, a byte for a physical internet, and also a running system around it. And don't forget the teammate network. I love these guys. I was so happy to work with them, and we have a bright network of expertise and interdisciplinary team of logistics experts, design engineers, and logistics service providers with network. So we tested it, we see benefit, and it's now a call for actions for you. If you are interested, we have 10 NMLUs, 1 cluster 2.0 container, and horizontal shift system. And if you see beneficial for you, we can do a feasible study for you to identify lanes where you can potentially use NMLUs. And then you can even test it and learn from the system on a specific lanes in real, because we have a hardware for it, and open your new areas for your network with an NMLU system. It's gonna be for high volume lanes or for e-racks, long goods, and the other stuff which gonna be not palletized. So this is perfect introduction to work with us. Cluster is about bundling, collaboration, and modularization. So please make the step within your network and work with an NMLU system. Thank you. Now we can go to a Q&A session.
Thank you so much, Michael, for your presentation and moderation. Please let me remind the audience that they can type in questions at any time using the question pane on their right. So since we're now opening the question answer slot, we're very welcome to receive yours. Okay, I can see.
I see the question bar, but it's no questions.
You need to expand the question pane.
The first question is who owns the IP rights for the NMLU? It's maybe for you, Ton. Ton?
Wait, I think Ton needs my support here. Ton?
Thank you.
Good.
The question is, who owns the NMLUs?
The IP rights.
The IP rights?
Yeah.
until now, Vanek.
Perfect.
But we are very willing to look for one who is interesting to produce the NMLUs. So we are a trailer builder. We are now looking for a partner who can optimize the NMLUs, if that we get more ideas about the interfaces and maybe even get some more weight out of it. Maybe not aluminum as base material, but glass fiber constructions like that. So I think companies who produce the air cargo pallets or air cargo containers might be an interesting partner to cooperate. And then we can, let's say, in a kind of cooperation, make the NMLU a sellable product.
Yes.
For us, the big interest is selling containers with a roller bed system, but it is combined new ideas. So we also want to contribute in making the NMLUs, but looking for a partner who is used to produce these kind of container base plates or systems.
Thank you, Ton. The next question is, has the unit been optimized for standard dimensions of EU and UK trucks? It's gonna be
yes, the 5 pallet version is also suitable for 4 euro UK pallets. So on the version that was our Type B, I believe, is fit for 5 euro pallets, but on the 5 euro pallets footprint, there are also the possibility of 4 pallets 1 by 120.
Yes, perfect. Now I guess we have all the questions of the audience. But we still have time, and maybe I will ask you some interesting points, guys. Maybe for you, Albert, the first question to you. As a logistics service provider, you are thinking already in networks, and we see a clusters 2.0 as an open network for logistics in the future. What is, in your opinion, the biggest challenge or barrier to build such an open network, and to how you can motivate the participants to do logistics in a network, in an open network?
Yes, okay. I hit the wrong button to activate my mic, but it's working now.
Yes.
Well, we are trying to set up such open networks for some time. And okay. The biggest discussion we always have is purely commercial. Transport service providers, whether you're a road haulier or other services, they think, well, we have a customer, and if we're going to participate in such an open structure as clusters, we might lose our customer. And that is always the difficult discussion we have. We say, no, you keep your own customer, you just participate in a more open network, you make your logistics more smooth. It's for the benefit of your customer. Your handlings will be more efficient, your planning can be combined with other services. And so that's always the discussion we have. And that's the most challenging. Besides that, the concept of an open structure like Cluster Split 2.0, we think is the future.
Thank you, Albert. It's an interesting point, because for Pieter, it's with your system, it's a new way to make collaborations, or it's is the operation of the system always in the hand of the owner? of the system, or it's...
You have to repeat yourself. You were away for a couple of seconds. Sorry, just
Okay.
lost.
To stay on the collaboration side and on the business side, like Ace said, with your system, can we create a new collaborations, or should anyone, the owner, operate with the system? It's always in his hand, or can we make it by logistics provider or service provider?
No. Of course, it really helps to integrate companies. I mean, you can think of this clusters industrial area where you probably have a railway siding, so railway connection, and maybe also some asphalt, and you can start with a container mover. Probably there is one company is really interesting to start, but then from this one company, the neighbor can use the same system, or the two neighbors can help each other using together one or two container movers and start working. And in this way, you are flexible and everybody can join. The other way around, a company can have his own truck, his own container mover, the neighbor can have another one, and they can use the same rail track on the cluster side. So it's a low barrier and easy starting, and therefore bringing the companies together in that way. You can say it's a bit do-it-yourself instead of do by others. So you're not dependent on a third party like a terminal. You're not waiting for something. We always say the drivers don't have an alibi. They don't come back and say, sorry, I'm late. I needed to wait for that and that. No, you're on your own, so you can be quick. And so those are big advantages.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. It's interesting points. We received some questions from the audience. Have you done any loading, unloading from standard rail wagon on NMLU, or has it been as handling of container? I understand it like this way: if we load and unload NMLU into container or rail wagon. Not, we didn't done it yet. It's handled always with clusters 2.0 container. It's goes on like Ace presented, with restacker from truck to train or to wagon and back, and then we proved or look out at load securing the load, how it's damaged or not. If the guidance system or securing guidance system which you saw inside of a clusters 2.0 container works, and it works well. That was scope of the testing at container terminal. I looked to another one. Okay, the next question is maybe for Ton. Can the NMLU be developed as a specification or set of standards rather than a product? And in that way, lots of business can complete to prove equipment, maybe like ISO for containers. Ton?
I don't understand the question complete.
Yeah, I repeated.
The standardized NMLU for?
Yeah, the question is, can NMLU been developed as a specification or set of a standard, not a product, because it's going to be a specification or set of standard where the users can complete and provide the equipment. Yeah, because now we have the physical thing, and the question goes to if it can be a specification or new standard. What do you think?
Yeah, I hope the NMLU will be a new standard, and I think the dimensions of the NMLU are based on the standards that we now have, the Euro pallet dimensions and the boxes and cases on that. So every NMLU is a multiplication of those dimensions of 60 by 40. And that should be the standard in future. And then you can get a modularization in cargo and filling up high efficiency. So if you see the set of Modulusca cases we had in the project, they were all based on 60 by 40 or a division or a multiplication of those dimensions. And I think in future, all things should be based on those two dimensions. And then we can get a modularized and standard width and length. And then we can build the trailers around it and the wagons on the train around it. And then we can optimize the logistic circle.
Yes. Thank you, Ton. To add something to this point, like Michael Archer from CHEP, I guess, said it in the first webinar, NMLU is the next item in the modular family. Yeah? It's between a pallet and a trailer, so it's gonna be a future standard, let's say the future standard for the next automated system like this, automated systems. Yeah. Now we receive the next question, maybe Tom for you, how it doesn't fit in a maritime container. Or the similar size to a maritime container. Tom is gone.
I couldn't speak.
Yeah.
No, the maritime container, we should analyze the inner dimensions if the NMLU fits in there. I know it fits in an oversized pallet-wide ISO container.
Yeah.
And we should analyze which type of maritime containers could fit the NMLU. Then you can also optimize the efficiency and speed of loading those containers, because you can load the NMLU outside very efficiently, and it's open from all directions, so you can pile up the cargo and then shift it in. But I would need to analyze complete the dimensions of the maritime containers. It was out of our scope, and we know the NMLU base plate fits into the pallet-wide containers in the 4 pallet footprint.
Yes. Okay, now we got all the questions, but we have still a bit time. Maybe for you, Ton, to be on the intermodal, now go from the sea to a road. Eric said NMLU can work in a system or a network when it goes interclusters or into the city. Do you see possibilities to go with an NMLU directly into a city, and how can it work?
Yeah, there we have ideas. We saw the little movie of the subframe, and if you make the subframe that it can stand on its feet, you can say, oh, we load 8 NMLUs on a subframe, place it on the border of a city, and then if we drop it down on the floor, we can unpack an NMLU with a vehicle one by one. And the vehicle can be designed that it picks up an NMLU, goes in the city, and brings back an empty NMLU. And then NMLU by NMLU can be brought with a little vehicle to the city. So, and then in the city, the NMLU can be like a little container standing over there from where further distribution is done or things like that. So I can imagine that the NMLU can also be, for the future of city distribution, a big part partner, it can have a great role in it.
Okay, thank you. So we can go to a CG. Maybe back to Pieter, because logistics is always about cost, you know.
Always.
And the audience maybe will be interested. How high is the initial investment for your system, and when could the system will be profitable, or when?
Okay, yeah. So now we're in the selling part.
Yes.
No, but well, if you think of a container move, like you saw in the video, think of half of the cost of a reach decker. Think of half the cost of a reach decker. That is investment cost. And of course, you have to think of the total cost of ownership and operation. That's much more important. And there are very big differences if you compare our system with, let's say, a reach stacker or also a fixed terminal. If you see a reach stacker, it needs a lot of diesel to operate. It is very heavy, and it has very expensive operational costs on tires, etc. So there are very, very, very big differences. The container mover, depending on the truck it's using, it's something like 6 to 7 liters per hour when it's on the terminal working. Diesel, talking of the old diesel. Reach stacker is between 20 and 30 liters an hour. So there you have the factor 5 again. So that's a big difference. So starting with initial investments, which are much lower, and then operational costs, which are much lower, also the whole maintenance, etc. So you end up with a total, let's say, yearly cost divided by moves of really half of the normal cost you pay in a terminal, knowing that most terminals are subsidized also. I'm talking about cost completely paid by the owner of the equipment, so without any subsidy. So, and if you then also add the much lower cost in the pavement, in the surface, etc. I mean the surface, the area you have to do, and the wearing and tearing on the area. So you end up with a total solution which is much cheaper than all the other systems which are there. Of course, for every system you need a minimum volume. Doing one move per day is not so very efficient, but that's everybody understands. So you have to have a volume to start, and that's always there. But the volume is much lower than in other situations, and that's the low threshold. At least you can start in a low volume or low volume situation and build. Yeah, hope it was a complete answer.
Yeah, thank you. It's this point to Ace, because it's about cost. Yeah, logistics is driven by costs, and maybe another way around. Do you see some challenges for yourself as a logistics service providers in the future? And maybe they are already there, not this cost-driven things, or maybe structural aspects, or what challenges are you faced in the future?
That's a question for me.
No, for Ace.
Oh, for Ace, sorry, yeah. Ace, your turn.
Muted again.
Okay, all right. Sorry, Michael, can you repeat your question, please?
Yeah, logistics is driven by costs, yeah, but maybe you see another challenges for you as a logistics service provider in the future. What are there, and maybe are there now here? What are other challenges for logistics service providers in the future?
Other challenges besides the clusters, you mean, or the open networks, or?
Besides an open network, besides the costs.
What other challenges? Well, the interesting challenge for logistics service providers for the near future would be, I think, to use automatic algorithms in order to optimize freight movements via open networks.
Okay, interesting point. We got another question from the audience. If they get the slides from the presentation, I think so. Yeah, we will provide them on a read on a website.
Yes, yeah. Yes, we will provide all the presentations. You will soon receive a follow-up email with all directions. Anyway, you will find them uploaded on our website in the dedicated presentation page.
Okay, yes. It was the last question of the audience. Maybe last question from my side to each of one. Don, I will start with you. By NMLU, we should not only think about an item itself. Yeah, we should think about a system, packaging system with an interaction system with cluster 2.0 container, with cluster networks, with Innovatrain system, and how you see at this stage of the project or the development of NMLU. It's more a question of feasibility or more a question of opportunity for open a new businesses or set a new standards? How you see it? Don?
Wait, maybe. Yes, okay, now you should be able to speak.
I must be unmuted by Annalena. Yeah, the NMLU, I think there is big business in NMLUs for us as a trailer builder. So I think it's for us a chance to get the pallets on roller bed trailers. So if you assemble pallets, then there will be a complete new business for what we call the fast mover consumer goods that are now packed on pallets to go over to NMLUs. And if in future and a lot of fast moving consumer goods are on NMLUs, we can also skip the pallet and the cartons if we go over to the Modular crates. But that's a bit, I think, the end of the ideas that we have to where we want to come with the ideas that we have. So if we could skip pallets and cartons in the logistic cycle and everything is in the crates, and crates are used everywhere, then we get the optimal logistic cycle. But I think we need some years to start with it, and it might also already be profitable for companies who drive in lanes and have a lot of products going in and out, that we just by optimizing the loading speed and the loading efficiency get enough efficiency to start with NMLU. And if we got that going, if we got it already on one lane, then people going to look at it and see the profitable, then the business can grow. But somewhere we have to start and spread it out over Europe.
Nice, thank you, Tom. Peter, for
Michael,
you.
Michael, I'm sorry to step in. It's just a couple of questions from the audience that just came. So do you know what the weight and cost of the transfer system adds to a goods vehicle? And also, I would like to ask a question, if possible. Some of you mentioned the COVID friendliness of NMLU. Could you please give more details here? So how do you think this would help in a time of a pandemic like this one?
Ton, it was your point.
Can you repeat the question, because the sound was very bad in my ear?
Yeah, sure. So you made the point on that NMLU is COVID friendly in a way. So I was wondering if you could give more details here. So what do you mean by this exactly, and how do you think that NMLU can help in this time of pandemic?
In pandemics? Yeah, if we have an automatic system to load NMLUs, we don't need that people have contact anymore. So if you think in the world of NMLUs, crates can be loaded automatically, not by hand. And trailers can be loaded over roller beds. And now his forklift driver is going in and out. He contacts with the people in the warehouse. He contacts with the drivers. So I think the NMLU is also a very COVID-friendly solution to avoid contact. In the use case I told you in the presentations, the driver who picks up the NMLUs at the different customers is only there for 2-3 minutes, and now he's waiting there for maybe 1 hour, and then he gets contact with all kind of people. So in the NMLU world, we could even, because it's loaded automatically, completely avoid contact between those kind of persons.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure whether somebody wants to address this question about the weight and cost of transfer system added to the goods vehicle.
It's to Pieter. It's for you.
It's for me.
Yeah, but you already answered it. So, do you know what the weight at the first question, the first part, and cost of the transfer system? It's a half of a reach stacker. So please answer what is the weight, and which kind of tools we have to modify the vehicle.
Okay, yeah, right. But the weight of, we have two types of container mover. Let's say the light version, the weight around 2.5 tons on the vehicle, and we have the heavy version, which is, that was a telephone, 0.5 tons for the heavy one. And concerning the wagons, we have what we call wagon adapter units. We put them on the wagon. They're fit on the 2 or 4 pins. So the normal container pins you also have on wagon. So we extend the pins with the second pins, which is a small operation. And you know, in the modern cargo rail business, wagons are going A, B, B, A. They're in systems between terminals. So you leave those adapters on the wagons and there's no problem. Also in the terminals where they're using normal cranes or reach stackers, there's no problem. They can use, it's completely compatible. So for that. And on the wagon adapter is 600 kilos. So the wagon itself is around 20 tons. So that's a small adaptation to the wagon.
Okay, thanks. It was the last question out of audience. Yeah, we are still on time, but I guess we are finished. Thank you guys for speaking here, presenting here. Yeah, Ton, Pieter, and Ace. Thank you very much. Thank you to the audience to being with us, and please contact us to work with the NMLU system. And again, the reference to the next Tuesday, to the webinar of Mark Ernst of Foundation of Collaboration and Model Shift. Don't forget this. So thank you from my side. I'm enjoying it, and see you next time. Anna Rita, up to you.
Thank you, Michael. I just to reconnect to what you said, I just sent the link to all the series of Clusters 2.0 webinars in the chat. So you can find it here and register from the link. Again, next webinar will be on massification concept, and it will be led by Mark Ferrels from P&G. It was an absolute pleasure having you today. Thank you for taking the time and joining us for this very lively discussion. And many thanks to the speakers. Thank you for your interesting insights on sustainable logistics. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.